me, but you can't. But you can do this at home. Okay, I need to crawl back, so just give me a second. Oh my gosh. Okay, super graceful. Hang on one second. Now, how corny was that, right? Yeah, I did that on purpose. I'm not really that corny. Well, maybe I am. And I also have slippers on, but you didn't see that. Okay, so today we're gonna run through 7 tips to help you clean out your fabric. I have started with the stash, cleaning out, taking stuff out, even though last time you saw this, it probably looked like I didn't do anything since then, but I have been working on it. So this is my video about cleaning out my fabric. It's not the perfect method, may not work for you, may not even work for me. This is the first time I've done this like to this extent. So before I get into the first 7 steps, the thing that I did first was to put all of my fabric on the floor. Now this is not a method I made up. This is a method that Marie Kondo does, and when you do her KonMari method, she tells you if you're gonna clean something out like your closet or whatever, put everything on the floor. The impact of putting everything on the floor is so huge. When you see it, it is the biggest motivator. If you think you can just look at your fabric where it is and do a good job of cleaning it out, let me just tell you, you're wrong. Because when you see it like this on the floor, you're like, what in the world? Now, I did pay money for all of this fabric. Is it wasteful to get rid of it? Maybe. Some people think it might be. Some people, though, including Marie Kondo, which I don't follow everything she does, but I really agree with this point, think that when you keep something that you are not completely in love with, you are basically letting that thing just sit in your house, rent-free, taking up space. And lately I've been feeling like my house is crashing in on me, and the less stuff I have to walk through and waddle through and clean up, the less stressed out I feel. Am I saying I want to go and have a tiny home? No, because I don't think I can ever do it. But I think there is something to be said about having just less to look at in general. Then your brain is just more clear to be creative, to think about what you want to make versus like trying to use this fabric that you're not completely in love with. So that being said, one man's trash, which this is not trash, but one man's trash is another person's treasure. So I do plan on passing this on to some people that are close by me. So let's get started. Welcome back to my channel, and I hope you enjoy this fabric cleaning out video. If you want to subscribe, hit the subscribe button below, and at the end of the video or at any point in the video, leave me any comment and I would love to reply. So let's get started. So of course I made a list because I can't remember all this craziness. All right, so the first thing, and the thing that I think is the most fun, is to have inspiration nearby. So you want to think about this fabric, and this is also kind of, I've read her book, so this is kind of like in her book, but it's not with fabric, but the Marie Kondo method, or KonMari method, talks about seeing the item and how it fits into your future. So you want to see this fabric that you want to keep and think, how can this fit into my future? Does this make me excited to make the things that have been inspiring me? So the best way for me to look at inspiration, I don't really go on Pinterest, but on Instagram, I do save a lot of posts. Like if something inspires me, I'm like, oh, save. So I just go through my saved posts and I look at the colors I like, the type of fabric I'm liking, the style that I am liking. And lately it's been stripes, polka dots, neutral colors, pinks, soft colors, pastels. and like chiffons and things like that. Basically Parisian. So surprise, surprise. So yeah, so I am going to use that to guide me through cleaning my fabric, like using my imagination and thinking, does this fit into my inspiration? Like, you don't want to keep something that you're like, you want to keep something that you're like, yes, this is something that I want to use. Yes, this is perfect. So that's how you want to feel, okay? All right, so number 2. So I have a bad habit of keeping scraps that are not super small, but are not big enough to make anything with. And I always go back to the Ogden cami, which I'll pop a picture up here, but you only need about a yard to make an Ogden cami. And I have found myself so many times saying, oh, I'll just keep this for an Ogden cami. Oh, that'll be an Ogden cami. Oh, that one too. That's fine. Yeah, I'll just keep it for that. And I could probably make 50 Ogden camis by now, okay? That's too many. I have made things with scraps before, like little poofs and stuffed animals for my kids and stuff. I didn't love how it felt. It wasn't squishy for them and they didn't love it. So I don't really have a use for them there. I know a lot of people do love scraps, and I'm going to pass it on to people that do love them, because I don't want it to end up in a landfill and I don't want it to be wasted. But I don't want it in my house because it's like my head is a landfill with all this fabric. I can't handle it. So that is another pointer and tip for you, okay? So that's a short one. So the next one, oh, this is a very important one. Okay, so let's see. Let's say you have like a printed, I can't find it right now, but let's say you have a really distinct printed fabric that you bought and you made something out of it, and you have like probably 2 yards left. Like, you have a ton left to make something else. My personality, I will not make anything else with that, just because I've already sewed with it, I've already experienced it, I've made something great out of it. Unless I can make like a coordinating suit or something, I'm not super matchy, so I probably won't make something else to like match it. I probably won't make anything for my hair to match it, because I don't like to like super match pieces. And I won't want to make anything with it again. Like, I won't come back to it. It won't inspire me again. Like, it's done. It's done. It's had its time. It's done. I made a beautiful garment out of it. I love to wear it, but the time has passed and it's done. So I know this about myself. And so I used to keep it because I'm like, well, I don't want to waste it. I have a ton left. But now I'm just like, I am not inspired by it anymore. Like, I just need to get rid of it, pass it on to somebody that will make something beautiful out of it. The good thing is it's enough fabric to make a shirt or whatever. And so now I just pass it on. So I don't really, let me see if I have a good example of this. Okay, well, I'll just show you this because this is super old. So there are now colors that I'm not super drawn to. I used to just kind of, before I knew what I was going to make and before I really figured out like my style and before it became more defined, and don't get me wrong, it's always changing, but before when I started sewing, I really didn't know what I was doing. I would just buy stuff because it was pretty, but like I didn't think to myself like, is the print too big to like make anything? Because you'll be like slicing a big giant flower in half or something, you know, stuff like that I didn't think about. I also didn't think about colors. And so like this plaid, for instance, is beautiful. I love it. But because it's like red and green or like red and a dark green, like I could probably make something out of it. I would probably love it, but I will only wear it around Christmas time. And to me, that's not practical. And that has kept me from using it so many times because I'm like, no, it's January. I don't want to make anything with that right now. And I know it sounds stupid, but that's just how my brain thinks about this fabric. And like, it's probably not correct. It's probably not that big a deal to most people, but like I can't get out of my head that it can only be for Christmas. And so I just haven't used it, and it's just been sitting here for years. So I'm gonna pass it on. But things like that. And if there's like a color you never wear, like I pretty much never wear black, ever. Like I don't have a little black dress. Black does like nothing for me. And I have some black fabric that's like sparkly, but I think I'm just gonna pass it on because I never use it. I never wear black, never. So, well, you know what? This is black and white, but that's different. Black and white stripes are totally different, okay? But it's like solid black, I just never wear it. So, the only thing is maybe I can make like a black suit out of it, but I would rather just a plain black and not like I have like a sparkly black. So, anyways, I am probably gonna pass that one on too. So colors are a big deal. Okay, so this is a big one. So I order most of my fabric online. When I do that, I'm taking a risk because I've never felt the fabric before. I don't know the quality. So when I first started sewing, I ordered a bunch of stuff that was great quality and a bunch of stuff that was not great quality. I've kept it because I don't want to waste it, or it's pretty, but the quality's not great. It might be like off grain, or maybe I have some knit fabric that like every time you touch it, it just runs, like it just pulls, and it's so irritating to wear. So like when I see it, I just get this like feeling inside, like I don't want to make anything with that because it just makes me so angry when I wear it. So I for sure need to get rid of that stuff. I have learned a lot about quality over the years. I know what stores have what kind of quality fabric. I am much better at ordering online now. And like I just bought a bunch of Atelier Bernette, and of course now that's the only fabric I want to keep because it's so good. And Mind the Maker too, they're good too. But yeah, so you learn like what you like and don't like. I also have some knit fabric that I bought like 3 colors of, which was not smart because I had never tried it before, but I don't like the stretch. Like the stretch is not really good. And so it's hard to make a garment with it because it doesn't have enough stretch to make a good knit garment with it, because most of the patterns I have require more stretch. And so like when I want to make a pattern, I can't even look at those because they won't qualify, so they just sit there. So that's another tip, and I think it's a really important one, because when you sew with fabric that isn't good, and there's a lot out there, it is so frustrating. And I just really upsets me when beginners buy cheap fabric because they don't want to spend a lot of money because they're beginners, which is totally understandable. But you are going to get so frustrated because the fabric is not good, like it's off grain or whatever, so things are going to be crooked, they're not going to fit right, they're not going to hang right, and then it's like you're just frustrated before you've even started sewing, and it's not your fault because the fabric is just not good. So it's so important to me, and I know it's hard, and it's hard to find good fabric, but it's not always overly expensive. There are good bargains. And Black Friday is pretty awesome. So anyways, so that's that tip. Okay, next tip. So over the years, I sound like I'm like 100. Anyway, the last couple of months or years, I have noticed that I don't really sew with quilting cottons anymore. When I first started, that's what I sewed with a lot because I was making like little dresses for my daughter, and they were just like little girl dresses that, you know, you need like a stable cotton for, and then I had a lot of knits as well, like printed knits and like the thin slinky knits that I bought that I would make like just regular t-shirts and stuff with. And I found that I don't really sew with those anymore. I hardly ever touch quilting cottons because if I'm going to use a cotton that's not like a rayon or anything like that, if it's got more structure, most of the time it's going to be a cotton poplin, a cotton sateen, or a cotton lawn. I don't like quilting cottons very much. I find that they don't keep their color very well. Sometimes they look faded. I've bought good quality ones before too, like really good quality, but I just find they don't look as good. And they don't feel as good. They're not as soft, and I just don't like them. And they really annoy me because they're 45 inches wide usually. And I mostly was 60 inch. And so I'll look at how much I have and be like, oh, 2 yards, that's enough. And then I'm like, oh, I forgot it's only 45 inches wide. I don't think I have enough. So that also irritates me. That's not why I'm getting rid of them, but just as an aside. But yeah, I don't really like them as much anymore. That being said, this is pretty much almost like a quilting cotton. It's actually more like a seersucker, but I do keep a few. If it's a print I really like, I will keep it for like boxy shirts like this or like Japanese patterns or something. So I do have a small stash that I'm gonna keep. And I also make scrub hats for work. And so I need a couple of quilting cottons for those, but I only need a yard. So I'll probably just keep the ones that, you know, I only have a yard of, or I might cut off a yard and give the rest away or whatever. So, but yeah, so that's that tip. This is the last tip. Last one! Okay, the problem with this one is it's a little bit abstract, but I'm hoping I can explain it to you. So let's say in your brain, you have this beautiful vision of like this striped button-down shirt that's just like flowy and French looking, and like it's like, you know, like got like a little bit open, and it's just so effortless looking, and you just have this vision in your head. So you go to your stash and you see a stripe and you're like, technically this qualifies, but I don't like the shape, or not the shape, but the size of the stripes, or I don't like the color of the stripes, or every time I want to make something with this stripe, like this bothers me, or the stripes are horizontal and not vertical. I just had a conversation with Courtney, S for Sew, and she had some some fabric that had horizontal stripes, and she was making a shirt. Granted, I think her shirt turned out really well, and I really love how it turned out, and I applaud her for being brave, because I probably would have just got angry and been like, no, I'm not using that. But if there is a fabric that you love, but there's just something quite not quite right with it, like let's say it's a red, and the color red that it is just keeps annoying you because it doesn't go with the rest of your fabric, or your clothing. It doesn't go with the rest of your closet. It keeps clashing with everything every time you want to make it, and you're like, oh, let me make this red pair of pants to go with this shirt that I'm making. Oh no, that red's not quite right, let me put it back. If you keep doing that with fabric over and over, or you want to use this silk fabric that has stripes, but the stripes are horizontal, but you want to make a skirt with it, and you're like, I'm gonna have to do it the other way. Now you can use fabric that way, and people do it all the time, but it depends on what you're making. A skirt would probably be okay to make on the cross grain, but like a shirt or something where like you really want it to drape well or hang well in certain areas, you may not want to do that. So if you come across fabric that makes you feel that way every single time, you just get rid of it, because you're having to strain and work so hard to make it fit what you want. You may as well pass on to somebody else, wait until you have the money or the sale or the proper inspiration, or you have the inspiration but you find the perfect fabric. Wait until that point, then get it, and then you will have exactly what you want. It will hang in your closet forever. You will never want to get rid of it, and it will just be glorious. I have this, to give you an example, I have this polka dot, black and white polka dot shirt. I haven't posted on Instagram yet. And when I saw that fabric, I had a heart attack. I was like, I have polka dots in my stash, but I've been wanting this shirt that is like a pussy bow blouse, and I've been wanting a polka dot for it, and all the polka dots I had like 3 or 4, they're just not the right polka dot for this shirt. I know I'm weird, but they just weren't right. When I saw this polka dot, I was like, oh my gosh, this is perfect. I ordered it, came in, figured out I didn't order enough, and I was like, ordered some more. I was that determined, and then I made it, and it is my favorite shirt. I literally think it will be in my closet forever. It gives me goosebumps to think about how much I love it. So it's worth it. Buy the right fabric for your project, or wait till you find the right fabric for the project you're thinking of. I know it may sound wasteful to get rid of a fabric that's so similar, but you're going to be wasting your time, which time for sure is money, and you're going to be wasting space in your closet and in your fabric stash if you are using something that you're not completely in love with, because in about a year or 6 months, you're going to get rid of it and it's going to go get wasted anyway. So I fully believe in making something that you're passionate about. After all, for me, this is not the same for everyone, I stress, but for me, making clothes is like a creative explosion. Like, it's what I love to do. I'm not really making it for necessity. If I were making it for necessity, that would be different. But I'm making it to avoid buying clothes, basically. And if I'm gonna avoid buying clothes, I have to love it. So yeah, so that's that one, and it's super important. I hope it made sense. Anyways, a lot of talking, but I am gonna start going through my fabric. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe down below. I will keep this short. Ask me questions if you have any questions you wanna ask me, or if you have any advice or you have any other tips. So anyways, I'll see y'all next time. Bye.